Shabbat Shalom. This morning, we just read Parshat Vayakel, which means, and he gathered, meaning that Moses gathered the Jewish people and taught us about building the Mishkan, building the tabernacle. And this becomes the driving force for the final 6 or so chapters of the book of Exodus. The 10 Commandments take roughly a dozen or so sentences for the Torah to present. But the concept of community, of gathering together around the tabernacle, of the design and construction of a place where we stand by one another's side in the presence of the divine, that takes many chapters to explain. So Moses gathered all of us together to explain it to all of us as a group, and most of the world is still struggling with how to stand together today. This past week, our community gathered together for a different reason. Last Sunday night and Monday morning was my grandfather, Simon Lebovitz's yahrzeit. We lovingly referred to him as Ba. The fact that my family came together was no surprise to me. 4 times a year, we now gather to say Kaddish for each of my grandparents who have passed away. Each of my grandparents, all prevailers of the Shoah, and all designers, builders of our family tradition, bring with them qualities that we celebrate as a family. Ba's Shoah experience was quite unique. He actually ran away to Russia with the Czech army and fought the Nazis. Very unique for a Jew to wear a Russian uniform, carry a rifle, and kill Nazis as their Shoah experience. And he brought that strength, that sense of resolute confidence to his new life in the United States of America. He was strong and he was loving. I used to feel both attributes as he would cup the sides of my face with his incredibly strong hands and pull my head up for a wet kiss. He was always present at every one of my performances, in our Chumash ceremonies, and baseball games, and taekwondo promotions. He and my Gammy used to pick us up from school if my parents couldn't. And Ba would navigate his extra long Cadillac through the carpool lines at Solomon Schechter Day School, which was filled with extra wide station wagons. He never got frustrated. I never heard him swear. He was the epitome of a gentleman. He was a model mensch. No matter if it was an assembly or a school gathering for me or for one of my siblings, I knew I'd find Ba standing in the window of my class watching me from the hallway. My classmates knew Ba. They all loved Ba. Everybody loved Ba. He could help me in English or in Hebrew, or in math, or in Torah. He was a man who had seen the world, and he knew things. He wasn't a storyteller, meaning to say you had to pry information out of him. But when he told a story, he always had everybody sitting at the edge of their seat. He had seen everything. I can only remember only one time in my life, when we were visiting Ba and Gammy in Miami for winter break, as we did every year, and Ba came with us to see a movie, the original Naked Gun. The theater was filled with raucous laughter. I was probably far too young to see that movie. I know my brother was definitely too young to see that movie. We were crying from laughter. And when we left, Ba said, "I've never seen anything like that before in my life." Late at night in Miami, if we were lucky, we were allowed to sit out on the balcony overlooking the intercoastal, and Ba and my father would talk. They talked about life and work and politics. I remember being forced to go to sleep and looking back to the window and seeing Ba and my dad still sitting in those chairs and talking. I can still see it when I close my eyes. That's why I often try to find time to meet my parents for coffee in the morning during the week and just simply sit and talk. And Ba still remains with me. So much so that I named my son Simon Lebovitz. You can hear him screaming in the social hall. So much so that sometimes I believe that if I look up fast enough in my office, I'll see Ba looking in on me through the window. So much so that when I'm lucky, I still see Ba in my dreams. There was a certain quality about him as a person. Everybody around him knew that he was special. There was a greatness about him. Our family recognized it. He couldn't hear a family not getting along. All squabbles seemed almost beneath him, seemed insignificant in the eyes of somebody who had seen everything in the world. And because of him, squabbling oftentimes magically disappeared. To walk in the world with strength and pride in being Jewish, and at the same time compassion for others, seems to me to be the mandate for the Jewish people in the 21st century. For so many, it seems so challenging. And I think all the time that it's too bad that so many Jewish people in the world today never saw Ba act this way with absolute ease. The amazing part of Monday was that I thought we would be short for a minyan here at Adat Shalom, since several of our regular attendees were out of town. So I sent an email to many of our regular attendees, our minyonaires, as we like to call ourselves, on Sunday asking people to try to make it. At 10 minutes to 7, that's 6:50 in the morning, I drove up to the building and I found 10 people standing in the parking lot next to the closed door. We had almost 20 in total on Monday morning. And I led services, and I thought, we are an amazing congregation. We are an amazing community. And Ba gathered us all together. You see, nobody in our Beit Midrash on Monday morning here at Adat Shalom knew Ba face to face. But they knew me, and they gathered out of respect to the memory that has informed my family's traditions, a memory that has shaped who I am in almost every respect. None of the Israelites knew God face to face. They knew Moshe Rabbeinu, and they gathered this week in Vayakhel out of respect to the experience at Sinai. They gathered to build a community, literally and figuratively, around the tenets of what Moses had received at Mount Sinai, because those tenets of Torah shape who we are in every respect. That concept of community, of gathering together in good times and not as good times, of standing next to one another and drawing in close a sense of the divine, that takes chapters and chapters to explain because it's too complicated for most of us. But when we have a person in our midst who inspires us to come together in the face of hardship, and also at the same time in order to celebrate with one another, to sit with fellow Jews we might otherwise share little in common, to stand next to them and sing praise to our God, that person knows much about the world and fulfills the mission of the Torah. We are an amazing kehillah because we know how to vayakel. We know how to gather together for one another. And that's the reason why people want to join us in those gatherings. Now more than ever, people are looking for places and communities that know how to come together at all. May the memory of Simon Bar Lebovitz forever be a blessing to all those who loved him and to the entire Jewish people. And may his ability to walk in the world as a strong Jew and as a compassionate citizen of the world inspire us to live lives of Torah and loving kindness and live our lives always, always gathered together. And let us say,